ladies and gentlemen, from Easton, Pennsylvania, the Easton Assassin and former heavyweight champion of the world, Larry Holmes. Ladies and gentlemen, the undefeated merciless, Ray MERCER.
Gentlemen, we're giving you instructions at the weigh-in. I want you to obey my commands at all times. I want you to respect the bell, and I want you to protect yourself at all times. Now touch him up. Let's rock and roll. Let's go.
Scheduled for 12, Mercer has given up his WBO heavyweight title, passed up #1 contender Michael Moore to get a $1 million shot at Larry Holmes. Holmes says he's going to stand in the middle of the ring with Mercer. Holmes has to get that jab going.
One of the best jabs in boxing, but you can see why. You know, he says in this fight, it's going to be like a reverse of the Tommy Morrison fight. He's not going to stand there and take all those punches in the opening rounds of this fight. He's instead going to move, allow for Holmes to punch himself out and then come back.
Holmes using his first 5 fights, and he smacks Mercer with a right, and that wakes Mercer up. And Holmes, who certainly with the long arms and reach, the tactics trying to hold. There is Mercer in the clinch, and he continues. There goes Holmes. Sees Smoger trying to get between, and I think a fight's going to break out. And that really riled Mercer up.
Wake-up call.
Holmes basing his confident feeling against Mercer on the fact that Mercer has had some difficulty with boxers. And Damiano, he went the distance with Kimil Odom 12 rounds, and also the distance with Ozzy Ocasio, that he can outbox and tie up Mercer. He feels that Mercer, compared to some of the opponents he's had, that he is shaking up. And Mercer going in. Mercer, who is known to find an opening and go right in as Tommy Morrison.
And that's just why Larry Holmes should not stand flat-footed. He said that he was going to stand flat-footed and fight Mercer toe-to-toe. That's a wrong way to fight a big puncher like Mercer. Holmes has got a superior jab. He's got to use that and use his movement.
And he can't get out of that game.
Not at all. He cannot let down for 1 second. Here he is trading with Ray Mercer.
But you know, this is a good round for Mercer because he is making Holmes.
Larry still has got the heavyweight power. Both of these men do. There is the left again doing the damage for Holmes. Took from Ray Mercer. Another look at it. The left hook did the damage. That was a jumping jab. Look at the feet cross from Larry Holmes. On top of him was Ray Mercer. Here it is again. Moving in with his jab is Mercer. I talked about the effective left jab that Holmes has. There's a good jab by Mercer. But that's what he wants to do every round, if he can get back and control that jab.
Larry Holmes at the age of 42. Father of 5, 4 girls and 1 boy. His daughter Misty has 2 children, a boy and a girl. So it's grandfather Larry Holmes going up against Ray Mercer. Got a late start in this business and trying to make up for lost time. Matter of fact, Mercer, when he was learning to fight in the Army, his idol was then world champion Larry Holmes.
Good chopping right hand from Mercer. Where is that stinging left jab?
As it turns out, Ray Mercer may be made to order for Larry Holmes, but the Larry Holmes of 10 years ago, when he was able to get the jab going, and also...
But that was always his best weapon. He was terrific when he boxed around his opponent, and in the perfect moment, he sat down and threw big combinations. Wow, good right hands from Larry.
Holmes unleashing.
But Ray trying to get Holmes to throw. He's trying to make him work.
Let him punch himself out and then close in when Holmes is weary. Holmes say, come on in. And Holmes.
And there is why. You look at their bodies, it appears that Holmes has less fat on his body than Ray Mercer. Looks like Larry's in better shape than Ray. If you go by the body, there's more detail in Holmes' body.
Big right hands for Larry Holmes. In his corner in between rounds, Hank Johnson telling him to go to the body of Holmes. Start the process of trying to wear him down. And look for Holmes' right hand. You see it there, how low it's dropped. And that may be the undoing of Holmes before this one is over.
Now Mercer must go back to that left hook. Remember how much damage he did with that in the opening round?
Holding off is Holmes. Mercer wants to tell Holmes, no effect. Remember, Mercer was outboxed for 8 rounds by Francisco Damiani, outboxed badly, but then came up with a big punch in the ninth, and here is Holmes. All of a sudden, Holmes has some fans behind him. Rocking away upstairs, then downstairs at Ray Mercer. Holmes at home in the corner.
Trying to get a little bit extra power from those ropes. Oh, a missing chopping right hand from Mercer. Those right hands, you can hit a man 15 times, and finally that 16th punch, you'll go down. You hit him in the same spot.
But Holmes here through 3 rounds, Sean. He's trying to slug with Mercer.
Trying to measure Mercer, too. Now Mercer's got to get back with that left hook.
30 seconds left. Holmes still holding onto the rope. Not even using that hand for defensive purposes. And Larry Holmes has come out to fight. Very game and spirited in the first 3 rounds, exchanging with Ray Mercer. And we may see Larry Holmes now, who has certainly put in the rounds, but Ray Mercer in only those 79. If he thumps me, I've been thumped before. If he hits me low, I've been hit low before. That there's nothing that Mercer can do to me that hasn't been done, but there's a lot of things I can do to him that he's never experienced. And now Steve Smoger steps between the 2 fighters.
Well, there was a headlock by Mercer and a little shove. Smoger didn't like it.
Mercer won the heavyweight title in the Olympics at 196. His last fight against Morrison, he was 225, and he's up to 228 3/4 for this one. Larry Holmes at 233, which for him is quite admirable, considering he started his comeback at 238 and has come down. He has trained hard for this. He won the title in 1978 against Ken Norton. He has 30 seconds here that he may want to turn it up.
Here he is asking Mercer once again, come in here. I'm going to bounce off these ropes, and then I'm going to land the right hand.
Round number 5. Larry Holmes now dancing as he comes out for the 5th against a plotting Ray Mercer. Foreman 3 years working towards the Holyfield fight. Holmes not as patient. He's had 5 fights, and he says, I'm ready to find out. That's why he's taking this fight against Ray Mercer. He's also making $1 million for it. The vault swings open to the winner. Talk already of the winner of this fight going on in June to fight George Foreman.
There was a digging right hand to the body from Mercer.
Remember, this is the round. This is the time Mercer came out to finish off Tommy Morrison. And they start off slugging here in the 5th. There's the jab of Holmes.
Boxing at the first part of this round, kind of like he used to do. But he's been content with laying up against those ropes, trying to play with the crowd a little bit.
Holmes said that he considers Mercer a journeyman. Good punching power, good determination, but as far as boxing ability and experience, Holmes feels that Mercer is lacking, that he is somewhat limited.
He says if he gets you in trouble, he's good. But Ray thinks that I'll get tired, Larry says. Good fighter. But he also adds he doesn't have any skills. He's not thinking inside the ring. And you know what? Remember the first round, that big left hook that Mercer landed? We've not seen it since. Toe-to-toe and fought with Mercer. He hasn't ran from him. He hasn't tried to put on any mask or do what he said he do, something other than what he said he'd do. So I give him credit. Although I think it's going to cause him some problem as we get later in this fight. Big, if it goes that long. Well, scoring well is Larry Holmes, looking the 30 years old that Ray Mercer is. And Mercer is confused here in this 5th round.
Of course, Mercer looking to be 42 years old.
I wasn't going to say that. Here's a look at the action from that last round. Mercer continues to walk in, and he continues also to stay right at the wrong distance. 90% of the power of the punch is right on the end. That's where Mercer's staying. Now moving in and tying up. When he's in there against a boxer, it makes it difficult. Now what he had to do is he had to get back in the mix of boxing and do it in a good fashion. With a fight like this, he can do that.
And he almost walked into that left hook.
That left hook is the punch for Mercer. There it is.
With the combination followed by the right.
Larry was trying to sucker punch Mercer. Mercer saw it.
Larry Holmes, is he talking to the Mercer fans in Mercer's corner? Or just talking to all the folks viewing?
Larry Holmes is doing good. Ray Mercer is confused.
Holmes turned pro 19 years ago. Mercer's been only fighting for 8 years. When he was 22 years old, Army sergeant stationed in West Germany. A month later, Mercer was the top big man on the camp boxing team. Of course, went on to win the Armed Forces Championship, swept through the Olympics with 4 straight knockouts to win the Olympic gold. Developing a cult following with the way he takes punishment and keeps on ticking and finds a way to win in a dramatic fashion. But he may have a successful career, but with all this punishment, may be short-lived. Things are heating up. The crowd really getting into this one. They didn't think this fight would still be going on here in the 7th round, but the former champ is surprising him and surprising Ray Mercer. This is a scheduled 12-rounder. It is a non-title fight. Mercer gave up his WBO title, passing up a mandatory defense against the #1 contender, Michael Moore, later down the road. A good matchup, but he wanted to get $1 million. He thought perhaps a quick and easy $1 million over a former champ, the 42-year-old Larry Holmes.
And that right uppercut from Larry is doing a lot of damage. Right on the end of the nose, and so great in the ropes.
Larry Holmes also playing to the camera. You know, Holmes went into this fight and said, who's Ray Mercer? He beat Tommy Morrison. Holmes feels Morrison couldn't fight. He was taking the distance by Kimuel Odom. And Ozzy Ocasio was losing to Damiani when he came up with a big punch. That's how Holmes thought about this one.
Good performance, but you cannot let down against a fighter like Ray Mercer. He has no quit in him.
Should Holmes be allowed to be holding on to the ropes as he has been?
That's not against the rules. What referees don't like you to do is use those ropes as leverage with one of your hands. Fighting back is Holmes. Boom. That right hand is the same one that had done the damage throughout this fight.
Some blood from the mouth of Mercer. Mercer is standing in front of Holmes. Holmes knew that Mercer would be there.
Mercer not one to move his head. He will take 4 punches to the face to get one of his own in, or to just get inside.
8th round action. Larry Holmes taking it to Ray Mercer. Holmes doing it with guile. He's doing it with guts. And for Larry Holmes, this is where he has averaged his stoppage of fights. 37 knockouts for Holmes in his 53 victories. He has lost on 3 occasions. Twice to Michael Spinks in controversial decision fashion, and once in non-controversial knockout fashion to Mike Tyson. There's the jab snapped out by Holmes, and he says that's why he came back. He says the money is there. He feels the division is there. That again is Larry Holmes being quoted. Here's the left hook by Mercer. But Larry Holmes is using that as an extensive sparring session. His problem was just going national TV with that. His first few fights out didn't look good, but he was getting the ring rust off. I mean, Tommy Morrison should have had a few fights like that before taking on Mercer.
A good left hook from merciless Ray Mercer. There it is, right at the end of the round.
4-round fight now.
Ray Mercer with that left hook. We have to see more of those from him. He is waiting too much for Larry to go. Larry to get off. There's a good right hand. The single punches are coming from Mercer, but Larry Holmes is the man doing the bulk of the damage.
Larry Holmes says he's going to fight Mercer until there's no more fight left in my body.
I tell you, you got to give a lot of credit to Larry Holmes. 42 years old, still up there fighting. He is going to be so sore tomorrow. He will hurt all up and down his body. His legs will hurt. Everything on his body.
He may quit even if he wins.
That's right. Tomorrow he'll go, oh, I don't want to do that again. There's a right hand by Mercer.
He made 20 successful defenses over a 7-year reign. Only Joe Louis reigned longer as a heavyweight champ. And he beat 6 former and future world champs. Ali, of course, past his prime. Weaver, Berbick, Spinks, as in Leon, Bone Crusher Smith, Witherspoon.
He sat down just for one moment. Oh, that woke him up.
And Mercer, this
the first time we've seen him move.
Yeah, moving backwards.
That right hand did damage.
Up goes Mercer with a little right hand.
The right hand from Larry Holmes in that 9th round. That has been his best punch so far.
And Holmes now more and more determined, sitting on the stool, talking to his corner.
Saying, I gotta do it, I gotta do it, I gotta do it.
He can feel it now.
He has outsmarted Ray Mercer. But there is no quit in Ray Mercer.
Holmes waiting back again. He said he's going to draw Mercer into the corner. He's had success in the corner. Why not go back to it? Mercer's corner yelling to their fighter to be first. Get off the blocks.
Staying at just the wrong distance with Larry Holmes. He either needs to move in with some punches or move out.
The right of Holmes connects with Mercer, and again. And now blood from the nose of Ray Mercer.
Turning back the clocks.
Or perhaps, as Holmes says, is fighting a guy who's just made to order. Whether it's Larry Holmes of 1982 or Larry Holmes of 1992. Holmes knows whatever Mercer has left, he's going to see in the next 6 minutes. Knows he will be pressed.
Standing right in front of Holmes. Watch, all Larry has to do is take a half step back, throw that jab. Look at him. This is playing with Mercer. Now on the inside, watch him tie up Mercer.
Well, it looks like he was right on one count. That Holmes has some good fights left in him. Holmes has to feel he didn't take this fight soon enough. So Larry Holmes taking a different comeback route, not going 3 years as George Foreman did, but Holmes got back in the fray a little later in life.
Well, it is surprising to me.
Well, this turns out to be an interesting scenario. The first fight, the former champ coming out of retirement, Jimmy Paul, takes out the rising undefeated fighter in Todd Foster. And now Larry Holmes has to feel if he goes another 3 minutes and 20 seconds, he may have duplicated that feat. Don't say
you never know. You never know. Larry looks good. Now Ray Mercer is fighting out of desperation.
Before the fight, Ray Mercer said, if this one goes the distance, if Larry Holmes goes 12 rounds, and I can't take him out, I'll give the fight to him.
On my card, he's already given it to him. Look at Holmes playing with the crowd, trying to win the crowd over.
Several of those Holmes fight 15 rounds, so he certainly brings the experience into the final 3 minutes. Knows every way to hold on and get through this time. Mercer now measuring him. Mercer has to close in. Mercer, from our scorecard, needs the knockout. Again, has to come up with the dramatic.
Holmes knows he's way ahead. He'll know how to hold on, how to tie up, how to last through this round.
And again, some chance for Larry. Larry, the boos in the beginning. for more from the Mercer fans. There's a partisan Mercer crowd. He's from Newark, New Jersey. We're in Atlantic City, New Jersey. And Ray Mercer is running out of time.
And Holmes still looks fresh.
Holmes started very quickly in the first few rounds. Thought that it might be a mistake. He would run out of gas. He hasn't. Holmes now screaming in the face of Mercer. And Holmes saving some. In the end, remember, he's reminded, don't get careless. You can never be saved by the bell in Atlantic City. No round.
In the final 10 seconds, you'll see Larry Holmes pour it on.
And Mercer
At the end of this fight,
has nothing left.
And Mercer's looking for the final bell.
Larry Holmes may have just pulled it off.
117 to 112. Eugene Grant scores the bout. 117 to 111. John Potteray has it. 115 to 113 for the winner by unanimous decision from Easton, Pennsylvania, the former heavyweight champion of the world, Larry Holmes.
And this one has to go down as one of the most satisfying in his career with his wife Diane. He entered the ring to the boos. He will leave the ring to the cheers.